Well, it is a compilation that blends fresh and classic stories into an intertextual feast with stories ranging from the 1950s to the present era. That's literary critic, novelist, short story writer and playwright Dr Siphiwo Mahala's latest read titled Red Apple Dreams and Other Stories. It sees Mahala and guest contributors showcase and respond to time-honored works by Can Themba, James Matthews and Njabulo, Ndebele and Zukiswa, Wanner. Mahala joins us now via Skype to give us an insight into the book as well as the Mqhayi Day Lecture that he delivered on Wednesday. Dr. Mahala, a very good morning to you. Thanks for joining us. Welcome.
Morning, Zukiswa. Thanks for having me.
Give us a brief synopsis of what the Red Apple Dreams and Other Stories is all about and what really inspired the book.
Well, Red Apple Dreams, first of all, the title story is a reflection of my own life. It's a story dedicated to my mother. Coincidentally, it was written on the 1st of August in 2016, a day that marked 30 years since my mother died. So today it becomes the 34th anniversary of my mom's passing. So Red Apple Dreams is a dedication to her. But what I did, I wrote that one story and combined it with several stories that I have written before, as well as new stories that I've written. And I included the works of writers that inspired me throughout my journey as a writer. Those writers include the likes of Can Themba, Zukiswa, Wanner, Njabulo, Ndebele, and James Matthews.
Tell us more about their contribution. What kind of value did they add into this book? And what is it about their work that really inspired you?
Well, I will begin with Njabulo Ndebele. For the first time in my life, when I read his short story, The Music of the Violin, I realized that you can write in English and still capture the essence of the country, the essence of our lives. So the Music of the Violin was that revelation to me. And then Can Themba wrote a story called The Suit. And in 2002, I wrote The Suit. So we had some kind of a dialogue that transcends several decades because Can Themba wrote The Suit in 1963. And then after I did that, Zukiswa Wanner in 2006 wrote The Dress That Fed the Suit to complete the dialogue between the three writers. So for the first time, those three stories are published together. And similarly, as a tribute to Njabulo Ndebele, who really inspired my writing in so many ways, I included his story, The Test. And also, one of my all-time favorite stories, The Park by James Matthews. So James Matthews turned 90 last year. So what I did as part of my tribute to him, I wrote The Park Revisited. The Park was written in 1958. And then I tried to revisit the park in the context of the new South Africa.
And you say that the stories in this collection are sort of the manifestation of nearly 2 years of your literary apprenticeship. I mean, it's a very personal compilation, I would say, reflecting your journey as a reader and as a writer of creative imagination. Do tell us more about this.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, it's nearly 20 years, not 2 years. The first story that I published there, Mpumi's Assignment, was first published in 2001 when I was doing creative writing at Rhodes University. And then The Suit Continued was published in 2002 when I was at Wits. And I continued with the practice of short story writing throughout the years. So this year is the 19th year of me writing short stories. So the very latest story that is here was written last year, Old Man's Horse, which basically is a rural romance. Because what I tried to do in this collection was to reflect both my rural and urban lives, and so almost half the stories are based in urban settings, and then the other half in rural setting.
And why was this an important part of your journey? I mean, this book in particular. In other words, why was it important to reflect?
Well, to me, I mean, after 20 years in the industry, one had to look back, and it was not just about the stories themselves, but also the publishing process. That for many years I've given my rights to publishers to do the distribution and all of that for me. But for the first time this time around, I self-published the book and managed to distribute it on my own. And I can say for the first time in my writing career, I'm getting my worth, because previously you would have to cut the cake into 4 pieces, and you as a writer get the least share. An example, on average, writers get 12% of the retail price. And for the first time, I'm able to determine the price. I'm able to decide on the distribution, and I'm getting all my worth for the writing. So it is coming to age, not just in storytelling, but also in literary production.
Okay. Speak to us about the Mqhayi Day Lecture that you delivered on Wednesday. What are some of the key takeaways that came out of that?
Well, Wednesday, the 29th of July, marked 75 years since Mqhayi passed. Mqhayi is recognized as one of the major writers of isiXhosa literature, but most importantly, he was a champion of African languages and culture. He contributed enormously to the standardization of Xhosa drama and orthography. He contributed to several stanzas to Nkosi Sikelel Africa. One of his most well-known works, Ityala Lamawele, demonstrates that in African societies we had our own justice system, and that classic story actually was eventually adapted as a drama by SABC, and it's also recognized as one of the classics in a project that Department of Arts and Culture initiated with the National Library as reprint of classics. So looking at Mqhayi's life, I mean, it tells us to be proud of who we are, be proud of our languages and African culture.
Okay. All right, Dr. Mahala, we have to leave you there, unfortunately. We don't have much time, but thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure, sir.
All right. That was literary critic, novelist, short story writer and playwright Dr. Siphiwo Mahala speaking to us about his latest book titled Red Apple Dreams and other stories which blends fresh and classic stories by Mahala, as well as guest contributors such as James Matthews and Njabulo Ndebele.